names and names. Broken future, shattered dreams. End of times ain't what it seems.
Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, July 3rd, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday edition before the July 4th holiday tomorrow. Trump got his wish. Trump got his wish. The Big Beautiful Bill Act, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act was passed today by the House of Representatives. It will go to Trump's desk and he will sign it tomorrow. So we're going to go over the One Big Beautiful Bill, what we could suss out of it. What a friggin' nightmare. Yeah, it's going to massively increase the surveillance state. And then we want the illegal aliens deported, but we can clearly see how the federal government turns all this surveillance power against the American people. We got some reports. An American citizen was detained for like 50 days. I guess they thought he was an illegal alien, but he was an American citizen. You expect more of that. And if they do complete the mission, which I still am very skeptical that they can actually deport 20 million illegal aliens. Let's just say they do. They're building the infrastructure to put you and I in these detention facilities for being political dissidents, you name it, for speaking out against war crimes, for just criticizing Trump and the government in general. You know what I mean? So they're building all of this infrastructure. We need to be very skeptical. I saw some people calling it Patriot Act 2.0. It's giving over $1 trillion to the military. We'll get to all that. We will get to all of that. What else do we got on today's show? Well, that's the big news of the day, politically. Anyway, we got Democrats' reaction to it, White House reaction. They're still acting like a college fraternity over there at the White House X account. Apparently, it's Barron Trump and his college fraternity running it, it appears so. Very juvenile indeed. Alaska is suggesting bare Alcatraz now. And I saw reports of a bunch of, quote, red states want their own dystopic illegal alien detention centers. The latest, Alaska, bare Alcatraz, they're calling it. I guess it'll be in the forest surrounded by bears. Something like this is the idea. There's reports that alligator Alcatraz there in the Florida Everglades has already had some flooding issues. And on that note, let's go to, I saw a comment from Sandwich Time. I think he said it's going to be a bad liability once hurricane season hits there at the alligator Alcatraz. May very well be. Some comments from yesterday. We had this one from Odysee, where they say, what did they say? I wanted to show you the image that they were commenting on here. See if I can get back to the comment. They say, it's obviously a cheap fake, impossible. This is Gurr on Odysee. Says, it's obviously a cheap fake, impossible for a single light source to cast those shadows. I don't know. Talking about this fake picture from the Chinese embassy from space that we showed yesterday. I don't know. Looks real to me. You know what I'm saying? Looks real to me from the Chinese space probe allegedly out there took this image. Other comments, we had Snarky Guy yesterday on the Rumble. He pointed out, and I agree with him, that that clip of Rubio But little Marco is talking about the Islamic side of the apocalypse equation and how they want to do everything the other side, the Zionist side, wants to do. And so I agree with Snarky Guy. The clip looked like pretty fake, jump cuts and lips not matching. I agree. But the content is still legitimate. As we've seen, we've gone over a few of these different things that, like the Protocols of Zion, you could say that's a hoax made up. Go read it. That is the agenda. You could say the Albert Pike letter, right, to Manzini, that's fake and a hoax. Look what he says. It's playing out. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of stuff out there on the interwebs where they say, well, look, that's discredited. It's a hoax. It's part of a conspiracy that's made up. Well, go look at it and it all lines up. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I think that Rubio clip fits that bill as well. But I do agree. It looked like it was clipped together and not so well, but it made the point, right? It made the point. So I agree with you, Snarky Guy, but if we take it in the context of making a point, then you could see why I played it there. We did get news from Barry, thankfully. Shout out to Barry. If you're if the interwebs can hear us, if you can hear us through the interwebs, Barry, thank you for all the support and help that you've given the show. Barry is having some personal issues, and that's why he said he stepped away from the interwebs and being so active on Weaponized News and helping us spread the signal here. But Barry's alive and well. Let's pray for Barry that he can get his personal life straightened out there, because I know it has weighed a heavy toll on him. And I think that's about all I'll say about that. But again, shout out to Barry. Thanks for all your help, helping to promote Weaponized News and helping the chat sections and whatnot, and helping us on our YouTube campaign and all the other help that you've put out there, the free co-producer, Barry. And so we do hope that you can get your personal issues straightened out without too much more heartbreak. Okay, what else do we got today? We have Democrats' reaction. I think I said that. We'll go over some deportation news. We've got a little geopolitical news here out of China. Trump did have a 15-minute phone call with Putin today, the most evil man in the world. Trump and Putin, YouTube. But not much progress was made as far as stopping the war in Ukraine. I saw reports there's attacks going on right now. And so it's horrific. They're killing people. Trump said, I didn't make any progress with Putin today at all. We'll play that, but yeah, so for whatever that's worth. And they're trying to iron it out. There's reports back and forth negotiating about what the language is going to be for the ceasefire peace deal in Ukraine, Russia. This is going on a while now, right? It starts to look like they're going to have a breakthrough. Prisoner exchanges, exchanges of dead soldiers, carving out a demilitarized buffer zone, and then some giant attack happens. It's like, what the hell? It looked like things were moving toward peace, but like I say, then some giant attack happens. It looked like everything was going toward in the right direction, and Ukraine launches that Operation Spider's Web. They sneak in these drones and do this remote attack on Russia's strategic bombers. Remember that? And so, but Russia's bombing the hell out of them too. You know what I mean? And so it's horrific. It needs to stop. So hopefully Trump could do something. Putin don't care what Trump has to say. And also I saw a report that despite U.S. Signing that rare earths mineral deal with Ukraine, Russia is targeting the mineral-rich areas, and they will be taking that land. So I don't know, man. Still doesn't look good, honestly. Let's pray for peace there. And then, of course, the genocide. It's freaking horrific. Who do we have today calling it out? Amnesty International says the aardvarks and aid system use starvation to commit genocide, to commit Gaza genocide. Well, Amnesty International, they're a bunch of freaking Hamas. You know what I mean? What do we expect out of them? But support for terrorism, right? Right. And this whole sham Operation Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, AP went and did a report about it. We'll play that. It turns out that you go for food and they shoot you and laugh about it. And there's U.S. contractors over there doing it, U.S. mercenaries. It's horrific. Honestly, it's quite horrific indeed. Oh, remember the yesterday's news all over the headlines? There's a ceasefire. Well, how many people died there? Aardvarks killed how many in the last 24 hours? Well, there's a ceasefire, don't you know? You don't got any, there's nothing going on there. In the last 24 hours, Aardvark forces killed 118 Palestinians in Gaza. But there was a ceasefire. They told us yesterday. Yeah. What is it? And then even they're trying to act like they're on the right side. They ain't. You know, the mainstream here, Mockingbird Media, BBC, CNN. Oh, dozens killed in Gaza. It was like over 100. More about that. We'll cover more about the Aardvark genocide. Quite horrific indeed. Let me get to this day in history for you. On this day of July 3rd, going back to the year 1608, Samuel de Champlain founds the city of Quebec. In 1754, George Washington surrenders to French Fort Necessity, part of the 7 Years' War. In 1775, on this day, George Washington takes command of the Continental Army at Cambridge, Massachusetts. In 1778, Persia declares war on Austria. In 1848, slaves freed in Danish West Indies. And then in 1863, we saw the Battle of Gettysburg wrap up today, the largest battle ever fought on the American continent, ended on this day with a major victory for the Union, the Army of Northern Aggression, as some call it, as some viewers of the show have suggested calling it. In 1890, Idaho was admitted to the Union as the 43rd state. In 1915, and I think I had heard about this, but that's why you got to read your This Day in History so you can, seems pretty significant, and I think I will research it more. But on this day in 1915, after exploding a bomb in the U.S. Senate reception room the previous day, Ulrich Munter, a German instructor at Cornell University, shoots J.P. Morgan for representing the British government in war contract negotiations. That's a very interesting tidbit of history right there that's widely underreported. So we'll have to look into this matter further of J.P. Morgan being shot. In 1928, on this day, John Logie Bayard demonstrated the first color television transmission in London, England. In 1930, the Veterans Administration was created, the VA, and they've been denying disabled veterans benefits ever since. We truly do appreciate their efforts to deny our veterans their benefits. Well, I don't know what we'd do without them over there at the VA. In 1940, on this day, Churchill's deadly attack on his ally, and we see this as a continuing military strategy. In 1940, the British Royal Navy damages the French fleet in Mers el Khabir, Algeria, to prevent Germany seizing it. So similar to the Hannibal doctrine there in Aardvark land. Rather than let the, quote, terrorists take any hostages, they just shoot them themselves. And so rather than let Germany seize this French fleet or ships from this fleet, UK, British Royal Navy just said, blow them up ourselves. What the hell? You know what I mean? And so that's a continuing theme in military strategy that we're seeing here now developing. So it seems counterintuitive. You're going to shoot your own people, i.e. Hannibal doctrine. You're going to blow up your ally ships, i.e. 1940 here, Churchill's deadly attack on his ally. Yeah, they are going to do that, and they do that. For your climate change, global warming, global cooling, extreme weather, all of that stuff. It's hot during the summer. I know it's horrific. I'm scared of the summer heat. We may spontaneously combust. But on this day, going back to 1968, the city of Cleveland, Ohio, recorded a record low temperature of 41 degrees Fahrenheit on this day, the lowest ever recorded in Cleveland in the month of July. But we were told it's global warming, global cooling, climate change, extreme weather. It doesn't matter. Anything, it's your fault. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the big, beautiful bill is defunding climate change efforts, carbon sequestration efforts, and the like, green energy. It does. We'll go over the details of it, some of it. Maybe that backhandedly, I don't know. We can't trust anything they're doing. They're all working together on this one world government agenda, obviously, and different factions within the power structure are fighting for control. Who's going to actually steer the ship here now into the iceberg, so to speak? In 1985, Back to the Future film was released on this day. I do enjoy Back to the Future. It's a good film. And they have like some backhanded symbolism in there about, if I recall correctly, about 9/11 and other events. Part of the predictive programming mind control program coming out of Hollywood that we all know and love. Another interesting incident in our history on this day in 1988, the U.S. Vincennes in the Strait of Hormuz shoots Iranian Airbus A300, shoots it down and kills 290. As damn terrorist Iranians. Wait, what? Oh, never mind. Forget that ever even happened. And then fast forward to last year in 2024, Aardvark Land approves largest land grab in occupied West Bank in 3 decades, 12.7 square miles, or kilometers, nearly 5 square miles in the Jordan Valley, aiming to prevent a Palestinian state. Well, you can't have a 2-state solution if you don't have any land. Now, can you? They're the good guys, though. You know what I mean? Damn, don't be a damn Hamas supporter. That's for sure. All right, what do we got? Oh, one other thing here. I thought this was rather funny. On this day, in 1978, Supreme Court bans comedian George Carlin's 7 dirty words in a case called FCC versus Pacifica Foundation. It was decided on this day the court upheld the FCC in a 5-4 vote, ruling that 7 words in a routine by the comedian George Carlin could be banned in radio broadcasts. Comedian George Carlin developed a routine that used a host of dirty words to great comic effect. At one point, the dialogue was broadcast on WBAI, a nonprofit radio station in New York City. A listener complained, and the FCC issued WBAI a citation for broadcasting obscene material. The Pacifica Foundation, which owned WBAI, took an appeal to the Supreme Court. In case you were wondering, the 7 dirty words are, and trigger warning out there for you, don't complain to the interwebs about this. I'm just reporting you what the 7 dirty words are, so cover your sensitive ears out there if you're easily offended. So the 7 dirty words that they're not allowed to broadcast are shit, piss, cunt, fuck, tits, cocksucker, and motherfucker. Excuse my language. You can find the words in the Supreme Court's opinion, but you just can't hear them on the radio or television network. So there you go. Pardon the offense. And what segue shall we go with today? We shall go with, well, let's play the Big Beautiful Bill. Trump's one big beautiful bill squeaks through the House in a 214 vote. He's set to sign it tomorrow, July 4th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, what a great thing, right? We're going to go over it here. But here's from your speaker, from your House of Representatives that don't represent us. You're a meeting of the crime syndicate. And so it was 217 Republicans, yes, yay, 2 Republicans, nay, and all the Democrats, 212 nays. And then well, we have one independent. Wait, who's the independent? Or what's MV? I don't even know. Not there or something. Anyway, it passed, as we said yesterday, as I said yesterday, it would pass, because they don't give your representatives that don't represent you, they don't give a shit. They're like, we're taking vacation. Sign this thing, we're out. You know what I mean? And so they snuck it through on the eve of the big 4th of July holiday weekend here now, as is customary by the crime syndicate. They're known as your congressional representatives. Let's play this clip as the segue and we'll get into it. Here's the actual vote going down on the House floor. And there is audio here, just to let you know. I know there's not audio playing now, but we will get to the audio. 2 Christian Zionist radical Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Members voted. Or wish to change a vote? No. On this vote, the yeas are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
USA, awesome. We love the government. We just mortgaged your children's future. What'd they do? Part of this bill, the big beautiful bill, over $1 trillion to the Pentagon budget, to the military budget. And you're like, well, they do good. They're keeping us safe from all the terrorists from Iran and whatnot, from the dirty Russians and the dirty Chinese. They're keeping us safe over there at the Pentagon. So what the hell? Give them over $1 trillion. But the problem is the Pentagon has never passed a financial audit. Since the Department of Defense began conducting mandatory annual audits in 2018, it has failed every year, including the most recent audit in November of 2024, marking its 7th consecutive failure. So let's give them over $1 trillion. They can't even account for the money they have now and have had since 2018. It's insanity. No one, nowhere in the world operates this way except for the US government. And I guess other governments around the world. I don't know. I'm not tracking their laws and budgets and finance because that doesn't directly affect me, as does America's here. But I mean, they've never passed an audit. They can't account for any funds. What the hell? Congress says, the good stewards of the public purse that they are, they say, what the hell? Give them over $1 trillion this coming year. And they won't be able to account for that either. What do you even say? Why the F, excuse me, to channel my inner George Carlin, why the fuck do we pay taxes, man? Like, seriously. It's just beyond the pale of fiscal irresponsibility. If any company in the private sector did this, they'd be, well, they wouldn't even be, because they have to pass a financial audit to be a publicly traded company and so on and so on. So it couldn't even happen. And all their executives would be thrown out, probably indicted for fraud against their shareholders. Us, the American taxpayers, are the shareholders of the government, allegedly, even though we know it doesn't work that way. So why the fuck do we even pay taxes? You know what I mean? It's just that one simple fact alone is just mind-blowing. Continuing here, more juvenile behavior. Oh, well, let's see this clown, Mr. Evangelical Christian Zionist piece of shit, excuse me. Now that George Carlin, the 7 banned words got me all fired up, I'll try to watch my language. But this guy, Mike Johnson, what a piece of trash this guy is. A great conservative. These people make me want to freaking throw up. Honestly, just disgusting criminals. Here's the White House. Here's the thumbnail. Victory, the one big beautiful bill passes. U.S. Congress heads to the president's desk. There you go. One big beautiful bill. Isn't it wonderful? And then here's the propaganda video. And then again, who is it? Barron Trump and his college fraternity? They say, let's fucking go, LFG. Excuse me, now I'm in the cussing mood here. I'm pretty pissed off about this the more I think about it. But you can see right there, let's fucking go. the golden age is about to be lit. Really? The one big beautiful bill has passed, and it's en route to the president's desk. Let's watch this video propaganda coming out of the White House.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait. Boom! Nailed it.
We did it.
What, like it's hard?
Treat yourself. Okay, son.
So isn't it exciting? Do we even care? I guess we'll, in the interest of reporting it. Again, these people are making me want to throw up. Cabbage Patch, Barbie, Blonde Barbie, Levitt, propagandist, press secretary lady says that President Trump's one big beautiful bill delivers on the common sense agenda that nearly 80 million Americans voted for, the largest middle class tax cut in history, permanent border security, massive military funding, and restoring physical sanity. That right there is total bullshit. How do you restore physical sanity with a massive military budget that can't even pass a financial audit? Bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I can't read anymore. But straight lie, they just lie right to your face like you're an idiot. I guess the majority of MAGA and America are idiots. They're literally laughing in our face. Okay, let's get to some of the details of it. And I'm sure there's a lot more juicy details. Obviously, I didn't have time to read the whole friggin' thing. I don't know what changes they made from the Senate to the House. It was over like 900 pages. Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the Democrats there in the House, he did a filibuster. I saw one report, the longest in history filibuster, like 8 or 9 hours, something like this, on the House floor, something like this, from what I pieced together in trying to gather all the news for you today. But let's see here. Research suggests the one big beautiful bill could increase federal deficits by 2.4 trillion to 5.8 trillion, raising concerns about national debt sustainability. Obviously, they don't care about it. That's a dead issue with fiscal conservatives here now, isn't it? It seems likely that the bill cuts programs like Medicaid and SNAP. Let's get to the overview. The bill includes permanent tax cuts, increases the child tax credit, expands SNAP work requirements, raises the debt limit by $4 trillion. Who cares about the debt, right? And imposes new fees like electric vehicle registrations. It also modifies various federal programs from agriculture to Homeland Security. That's the one we should be concerned about, Homeland Security, aiding to realign spending, but with significant cuts to social services. Okay, the nitty-gritty details here. Bear with me as I go through these. We have to cover this here now. Tax policy reforms, Title 10, Committee on Ways and Means, individual tax rates permanently extends and this will directly affect you as a U.S. taxpayer, permanently extends the 2017 Tax Cuts and Job Act provisions, maintaining tax rates at 10%, 12%, 22%, 24%, 32%, 35%, 37%. All taxation theft and taxation on individual income. They won't do that. They want you poor. Standard deduction and credits increases the standard deduction by $1,000, $2,000 for joint filers, $1,500 for head of household through 2028. So it will expire then. Permanently repeals personal exemption deductions and raises the child tax credit to $2,500 per child through 2028, reverting to $2,000 in 2029 with inflation adjustments. Other tax adjustments. Establishes deductions for tips and overtime through 2028 for incomes $160,000 or less. Terminates clean vehicle tax credits and extends bonus depreciation to 2029, 2030. Agriculture and nutrition programs. Title I, Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry, SNAP modifications, extends work requirements for able-bodied adults without dependents, raising the age limit from 55 to 65 and restricting exemptions for parents to those with children under 7, prohibits increases in the Thrifty Food Program costs, and reduces state exemptions to 1%. Farm programs. Extends programs under the 2008 Farm Bill, adjusts cotton pricing to maximize loan forfeitures, minimize loan forfeitures, and ensures market competitiveness through 2032. Nothing like a free market, and the central government controlling said free market, right? While rescinding Inflation Reduction Act funds. Debt limit and fiscal measures, subtitle D. Title number 9, debt limits increase, raises the statutory debt limit by aforementioned $4 trillion to accommodate increased federal spending and deficits, a move central to the bill's fiscal strategy. There is no fiscal strategy because you just gave over $1 trillion to an operation that doesn't account for the funds even. They just literally laugh in your face. If you say anything, they may just drone your ass. You know what I mean? So, or shoot, they'll just blow up your building, i.e. building 7. Last time the funds were missing and was mentioned by Rumsfeld, bin Laden blew up the investigation at the Pentagon. Remember all that? On 9/11. So yeah, audit, financial audit, they'll just freaking bomb you, as has been the history. So talk about a terrorist organization. Jesus. Transportation and Infrastructure, Title 10, Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Coast Guard funding allocates funds for fiscal year 2025 through fiscal year 2029 and authorizes active duty for selected reserve members for up to 365 days, counting toward post 9/11 GI Bill benefits. New fees increases tonnage duties on vessels entering the U.S. ports by 125% and imposes federal registration fees on electric and hybrid vehicle owners, $250 registration fee on electric owners, and hybrid owners can see an increase of $100 on their registration fees. And that ends October 1st, 2035, while rescinding Inflation Reduction Act transport funds. Homeland Security and Immigration. This is what they're going to be turning it on us. Turning it in on us, the surveillance police state. We wouldn't have it any other way in America. Homeland Security and Immigration, Title IX Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs. Immigration enforcement implements stricter vetting for sponsors of unaccompanied alien children, including background checks and home studies, introduces fees for aliens ordered removed in absentia, and funds the CBP electronic visa update system through non-waivable fees. Border Border Security funds the CBP for border barriers, personnel, and drug trafficking prevention, reimbursing states for immigration enforcement costs post July 21st, 2021. Somehow my taxpayer money's paying for it, all of it. Let's blast through other significant provisions. Education revisits student aid eligibility, terminates subsidizing loans and direct plus loans by July 1st, 2026, limits loan amounts to $200,000 aggregate, introduces risk sharing for institutions of higher education, repeals the 90-10 rule and limits Department of Education regulatory authority. Energy and Commerce rescinds Inflation Reduction Act energy funds, establishes natural gas export fees, expedites permitting, repeals EPA programs like the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, nullifies vehicle emission rules, and renews FCC spectrum auction authority to September 30th, 2034, with funds for AI modernization. Indeed, their technocracy, i.e. technocracy. Health, Title 4, Part D, enhances Medicaid chip fraud prevention, prohibits gender transition procurement payments, requires work community service for Medicaid expansion, 80 hours a month by December 31st, 2026, and introduces cost sharing for fiscal year 2029, $35 maximum per service, 5% family income cap. Financial services, Title 5, rescinds HUD green retrofit funds, transfers PCAOB duties to the SEC, reduces FCPB funding, and limits financial research fund collections. Natural resources, resumes oil and gas leasing, decreases royalty rates, modifies Arctic National Wildlife Refuge leases, holds geothermal cells annually, rescinds NOAA coastal funding, and increases timber harvest by 25% over 4 years, year over year, 2020 to 2024 average. They're going to take that average and increase it by 25% for lumber harvest. Oversight and government reform, Title 9, eliminates federal employees retirement system. Well, I like that one actually, but there's always something backhanded about it. You know what I mean? So don't trust the government. Annuity supplement for new retirements requires 5% salary contribution or at will employment, establishes Merit System Protection Board, MSPB, filing fee $350, refundable if successful, and verifies federal employees' health benefits, family eligibility. And then 10 points critical of the bill, because it's all wonderful. How dare you criticize it? Massive deficit increase. The bill is projected to add $2.4 trillion to primary deficit for fiscal year 2025 through fiscal year 2034, and $3 trillion to the debt, including interest, with potential for $5 trillion if temporary provisions are extended. Critics, including the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget, argue this exacerbates the national debt without sustainable fiscal controls, potentially leading to economic instability. Who cares? You know what I mean? Give a trillion to the Pentagon there. Cuts to social programs. The bill includes cuts to Medicaid, SNAP, and other critical programs, such as expanding work requirements for ABAWDs. I don't even know what that is, honestly. and prohibiting TFP cost increases. This is a good time to remind everybody, if at all possible, don't be relying on the government. These changes are seen as harming vulnerable populations, particularly low-income individuals and families. Weakening judiciary power, provisions like Section 70302, which restrict courts from enforcing contempt citations without bond, are criticized for undermining the judiciary's ability to enforce court orders. This is seen as a power imbalance, with some commenters comparing it to authoritarian measures and noting potential long-term impacts on civil liberties. Debt ceiling increases, they're going to increase it $4 trillion, or maybe even $5 trillion. Who cares? It's a joke. In your face. Pay your taxes. Into the black hole. Hidden provisions. The bill is criticized for containing hidden and secret language. You don't say. Including provisions that might undermine Supreme Court's authority, as noted by some critics. This raises concerns about transparency and legislative integrity, with some critics pointing to Section 70302 as an example of undiscussed impacts. We'll have to take another look at that Section 70302 and do a deeper dive, potentially, if there's anything interesting in there. Economic risks. There are concerns that the additional deficit could lead to a credit rating downgrade. You don't say. Negatively impacting bond markets and potentially causing an economic death spiral. That's extreme, right? That can never happen here in America. Political maneuvering. Critics argue that the bill allows Republicans to blame Democrats for popular cuts, indicating a lack of genuine bipartisan effort. Well, we just saw the vote, and so of course they're pointing fingers. It's the government, man. Insufficient spending cuts. Some fiscal conservatives, like Rand Paul, believe that the spending cuts in the bill are not substantial enough to offset deficit increases, with only 1.6 trillion in proposed cuts to spending against 2.4 trillion to 5.8 trillion deficit increase. Yeah, mass racist. Shut up, Rand Paul. You damn racist. Critics argue that the bill's fiscal discipline measures are inadequate, as seen in several different online analysis. Well, what do they know? Impact on states. The bill's provisions, such as changes to state and local tax, i.e. SALT deductions, could have varying impacts on different states, potentially disadvantaging high tax states. Concerns raised by Republicans' SALT caucus and amendments to address these issues highlighted the uneven regional effects noted in some legal analysis. Lack of transparency. What the hell? They read it. The rush drafting and passage of the bill with limited time for review is criticized for lacking transparency and potentially including lobbyist-driven provisions. That's called pork barrel spending. Congress wouldn't do that. Sneak it out on the eve of a big holiday weekend. They wouldn't sneak it through like that, would they? Oh, that's all they do ever? Yeah, they're criminals. At over 1,000 pages, the bill's complexity and fast-track process have been a point of great concern. You think? Yeah, trust the criminals there. Of course. And that's about it for your overview, rough overview. There's a lot more to get into, but we don't have the time right now. It is officially called for those, and it took a bit of searching because there's all this, but it is actually called, it's called HR 1 One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Here it is. For those that want to go to the primary source document, right there it is. And it's actually called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. I thought that was just a marketing ploy by Trump and the White House and the Republicans, but that's the actual name of the bill. So there you have it. I think we'll have to still do some digging on this, as it has just passed. Here's the White House propaganda page, and you can see this is the signature bill passed by the Trump administration. We're preparing your tax cuts. The One Big Beautiful Bill. Really? Backed by American industry. Don't you love it? They don't even hide. Your corporate occupied country here now. You have a corporate occupied government. And so who doesn't want Comcast backing the One Big Beautiful Bill? And Verizon? Isn't it wonderful? All the corporate sponsors of the One Big Beautiful Bill. Why the fuck do we pay taxes again? Oh, man. Excuse my language, but this stuff just pisses me off the more you see, and they just throw it in your face. They just throw it in your face. And here's the propaganda from the White House. And they even have a little handy calculator here. You can calculate your tax savings. How about end all of these taxes on our income? Oh, they would never do that, would they? So you can find the links to all this stuff on Weaponized News Substack for those interested that want to, or just do your own searches for it. I think I've given you enough information to make that easy for you. Here is, so what are the Democrats? Let's see the Democrats' reaction to this, because they have to play their role that in this two-party illusion of government, that they were against it. They love government spending. They love they hate you, and they love bankrupting you. So I mean, they're the fake opposition. It's all fake. They're all the government. They're all part of the same crime syndicate. But here is old Hakeem Jeffries, who ended his nearly 9-hour filibuster, and then they voted and passed it. So what a bunch of political theater. But I did use this, one of the lines from his filibuster here in the headline. In the headline here, he says, passing this bill is going to create a deportation machine on steroids. We can only hope. But again, they're going to turn this whole police state surveillance technocracy apparatus that they built on the American people. You better believe that.
Press on for democracy. We're going to press on until victory is won. I yield back.
Wow, what a man of the people. He saved us from the big, beautiful bill. Oh, they voted and passed it right after he did. It's just so freaking ridiculous. Here's his deportation machine on steroids.
Speaker, that's not what this country should be all about. Manu wasn't the only one. The only American citizen who's been targeted by the deportation machine, a deportation machine that will be unleashed on steroids by this one big ugly bill. We know that, in fact, is the case. That's not hyperbole, Speaker.
Deportation machine on steroids. I still don't believe it. Let's hear from poor AOC. One of the saddest days in modern American history, she says.
I think this is one of the saddest days in modern American history. This is the largest. Withdrawal and ending of healthcare in American history. 17 million people in our country, 17 million Americans in our country are going to lose their Medicaid. They're going to lose their ACA insurance. Small business owners are going to have their healthcare costs skyrocket, and people are going to have their SNAP and WIC cut back. People are going to go hungry. People are going to get sick. On a scale unlike anything we've ever seen. And it's all of it is just to finance tax cuts for billionaires and the wealthiest corporations who don't even need it. I don't think we have ever seen or are prepared for how catastrophic this is set to be for a lot of people. And I think it's devastating. And they're talking about this as though it's some tax cut. Even the stuff that they're talking about, taxes on tips, no tax on tips, that's only for people, that's only up to $25,000. And if you're making less than that, you're already kind of exempt from a lot of these things in the first place. So they're giving people crumbs.
I agree, AOC. They're giving people crumbs and individual income tax. End it. But none of these criminals will ever go there, will they now? And why do you even want access to the Rockefeller medicine system? They won't go there either, as it's some big loss. It may actually save people in the long run. They got the fake Biden out there posting. Here's Biden. Of course, does anybody believe that he really posted this? I don't. But the Biden account, whoever's running it, maybe Hunter, who knows? The Republican budget bill is not only reckless, it's cruel. It slashes Medicaid and takes away health care from millions of Americans. That may actually save them backhandedly in the long run. It closes rural hospitals and cuts food assistance for our veterans and seniors. It jacks up energy bills, and it could trigger deep cuts to Medicare while driving up the deficit by $4 trillion. All this to give a massive tax break to billionaires. Not one mention from these Democrats about the $1 trillion plus dollars in military spending there, because they all love it. And then, of course, Newsom, the governor of the great state of California. What did he have to say about it? 17 million people just lost health care. Again, backhandedly, that's actually a good thing, even though they don't see it this way. 18 million kids just lost school meals. Another good thing, backhandedly. They're all pesticide-laden GMO garbage. 3 million Americans just lost food assistance. And 3.5 trillion was added to the deficit, all for tax cuts for Trump's billionaire donors. The ultimate betrayal. It's almost like they're all reading off the same script, isn't it now? Because they're all fake. With that, let's do we have one oddball story? I did like this actor. He's kind of a B actor kind of guy. But sadly, Michael Madsen, made famous in these Tarantino movies, Reservoir Dogs and Kill Bill, has sadly he's passed away of cardiac arrest at the age of 67. And he's in quite a few, I don't know if you like borderline B movies. He's always the bad guy, tough guy kind of guy. This guy, anyway, rest his soul as he passed away And of course, experts are baffled by his heart condition. And with that, let's take our live commercial break. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself some stickers. We have the holograph stickers there, all the colors of the rainbow in July for you still. And we have the white background sticker and the clear background sticker. You can see right here, the clear. Of course, these are samples. You'll get new ones. They're kind of tore up from being our samples. But go to weaponizednews.com. Help support independent reporting and analysis here at Weaponized News, like no one else on the interwebs. We appreciate all of our subscribers' support, all of your donations. You can also give us a donation if you like. We also take Bitcoin. Our Bitcoin address is in the wallet below in the description of this video. And we do appreciate all of the support. Go check out our store over there, get some stickers. We have some other items. We still have a book about the miracles that I see people still posting. I have like, I don't know, 15, maybe like 12 left, something like this. Anyway, still have stock of those for those interested. Co-authored by Dr. Thorpe. So that book is in the store as well. And now let's hear a word from our one and only sponsor, Abba Zaba Enterprises, and then we'll be back with the second half of the show for you.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abba Zaba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abba Zaba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250 for stress-free solutions.
And we're back. Welcome back to Weaponized News. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday, July 3rd edition. They just passed the big, beautiful bill there. It's going to Trump's desk. He will sign it tomorrow, all like it was totally scripted the entire time, because it was. And on to what is going on here with the deportations. Department of Homeland Security, self-deportation app. You can get a free ticket home, $1,000 to self-deport. Non-criminal illegal aliens can access travel assistance on their own terms to avoid arrest and earn a stipend for returning home. There is no excuse to not self-deport. Get your free ticket home there at dhs.gov/CBP home. And self-deport and beat the crowds there, you illegal aliens, and get your status here in America correct, or you may wind up in alligator Alcatraz or bear Alcatraz. We'll get to that in a minute here. CPB home assistance to voluntarily self-deport, and you can download that app now and maybe miss a long-term detention. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons. Let's take another look at alligator Alcatraz. He confirms ICE won't turn a blind eye to people who are just here illegally. So that is another law. That is an actual law that they broke. We do have immigration laws in this country, even though a large swath of our government and media act like we don't have immigration laws.
With gators clearly visible outside, NBC News getting a first look inside.
The partnership with the state has been great, right?
Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons telling us the goal is to keep detainees here no longer than 2 weeks, where they can appear before a judge and be deported from the camp's existing runway.
How would you respond to critics who think that this is not where immigrants should be housed? Well, what I would say is that obviously individuals that want to come here to enjoy the American dream
should think about returning on their own, so they're not in a detained setting, right?
Is the administration still going after the worst of the worst?
We are.
The administration stresses the priority is violent criminals, but anyone who is here illegally is breaking the law.
Through the course of another law enforcement investigation, we do come across people that are just here illegally. We will no longer turn a blind eye to.
I know, shocking. We have immigration laws in this country. Shocking to some. What was the thing about the 2 weeks? Somebody in the comments, something about it's in the Bible. I forget exactly. I should have remembered because it was a pretty good comment. But there's something going on with this 2 weeks that they keep recycling this idea. There's something about it, some kind of part of their mind control program has 2 weeks built into it here now. As we're noticing, everything's 2 weeks. Utah man wrongfully detained by ICE for nearly 50 days. His attorney says, let's watch this report out of Utah.
Days in an ICE detention facility, but its attorney says the federal government's actions were wrong. News specialist Garna Mejia has the story tonight. Garna, what happened?
Yeah, well, Dee Dee, Junior Dios has graduated from Highland High School. He owns a small business, and he's a lawful resident. But on a trip back from Peru, he was detained by immigration officials.
When I was there, I'm like thinking like every day, I'm like, why I'm here?
Junior Dios has spent nearly 50 days in ICE custody in Texas. In April, he was stopped by customs agents after a return flight from Peru.
I'm just thinking every day I wanted to go home.
39-year-old Dioses is a legal U.S. resident, but his attorney Adam Craig says he was wrongly detained for 2 prior convictions of disorderly conduct and failure to stop. The problem, Craig says, is those convictions don't meet the legal standard for deportation.
What is so fundamentally wrong about that is, had anybody on the government side done the research, they would have known that they had inappropriately incarcerated and inappropriately begun deportation proceedings against someone that should have never been in that type of position.
Dioses, a husband and father of 5 children, was recently released. Craig says the government didn't even fight the motion to dismiss his case.
He did not have his green card taken away. He's still a permanent resident.
The case, Craig says, is concerning and of impact to the entire community, starting with taxpayers.
For Junior to spend 48 days in immigration custody on charges that were never legitimate from the start, taxpayer money covered that entire time. Every single second of that we paid for. That should outrage people.
And tonight, Dios described.
Well, he looked brown, so close enough, right? No, seriously, that's messed up. He's a legal resident, and he got caught up, and so you're gonna get caught up in this dragnet. Boiler Room is going live tonight. Shout out to Ruckus and the Boiler Room there. So tune in to the Boiler Room with Ruckus and his crew after Weaponized News. I think I will be listening in as well to that program. U.S. citizen seeks $1 million after arrest detention for recording immigration raid. The Hill is reporting here now. Will they get it? I don't know. The Mexican American Legal Defense and Education Fund said yesterday it was preparing to initiate $1 million lawsuit on behalf of a U.S. citizen detained in Los Angeles after recording a raid at a Home Depot store, saying it violated his civil rights. I don't know. And what the hell? Somehow it's all my tax money. California husband says he'll continue to support MAGA movement after wife taken into federal custody. He must not have liked his wife very much. Let's take a look at this clip. Anything for MAGA, I guess.
All supporters of President Trump, see the MAGA hats, Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf live for us in Diamond Bar. And Matthew, those Trump flags staying up tonight.
Yeah, those flags staying up. This family still supports Donald Trump despite their mom being detained. The final moments home for an Iranian woman detained by immigration agents. A mother Monday going inside to say bye to her 4 kids.
She came and kissed the kids and that was it. That's the last time I saw her.
A proud President Trump supporting family in Diamond Bar.
Election time was here. I had a full 3-4 flags out.
Even while their mom faces immigration questions. Has your opinion changed on this?
That's a good question. Somewhat it has. Just because I'm going through it. I was very selfish before. Well, what I see right now is, okay, there's a reason for it.
Arthur Sahakian's wife, Arpaneh, was born in Iran and moved to the United States when she was 3 as a refugee.
She cashed a check, I believe it was less than $200, and this is all where it started.
Then, about 15 years ago, her green card was revoked over a conviction related to theft.
It's all misdemeanor stuff.
Arthur says they've been going through the legal process towards regaining citizenship with check-ins every 6 months or so.
She just went in April, and they said, okay, you're fine, have a good day, we'll see you back in September or October.
Then last week, the United States bombed 3 nuclear sites in Iran, increasing tensions and concerns of Iranian sleeper cells retaliating in the U.S.
I'm very for of them seeing the Iranian nationals because of the sleeper cells. I understand that.
Federal sources tell Fox News that more than 130 Iranian nationals were detained in the U.S. this last week.
I think it will resolve a lot of issues because we will know exactly who's in here for what reasons. Even though I miss her dearly, but I think we could do a better job of you catch someone, you see they're a national, and do a background real quick and see if they have ties to the community and ties with families over here, and let them go.
What do you think is going to happen?
I'm going to be going to a different facility.
Arpaneh speaking with us on the phone, uncertain about her future. Any regrets with your vote?
None. Still supporting him.
While her family continues showing support for President Trump.
What? Well, Snarky, you could, if you have some broad yelling at you, just have her deported, man, and continue to support Trump. That's quite a story there, to say the least. I guess anything for Trump. Wow. Okay, what else do we got on the immigration front? The ICE block app creator, we covered that. He said he knew the creator of ICE Block, an iPhone app that lets users report sightings of immigration and customs ICE agents, has no plans of stopping despite growing criticism from some public officials. I don't know. This guy may get deported, but don't you worry. Your MAGA are out there. They're saying MAGA are saying log jam the app, the ICE Block app, and fill it up with a bunch of false reports of where ICE is to confuse the ICE evaders. So they may very well be finding false information on ICE Block app. And of course, Alaska suggests bare Alcatraz for migrants to be detained. Newsweek is reporting, and I did a search, and there of alligator Alcatraz, and there are a bunch of states saying we want our own, dystopic illegal alien detention centers, so we can be part of the dystopia as well. But now the great state of Alaska has floated the idea of possibly detaining illegal aliens in an isolated site surrounded by wild bears, bare Alcatraz. And so expect some bizarre, extreme illegal alien, soon to be citizen detention center coming to a state near you, as this idea is growing in popularity, apparently. We live in dystopia, man. I swear. Okay, on to, and yeah, Snarky guy, I saw your comment. We'll have to have you on to do a dive into old Russia, Ukraine. If you like, we can do that. Yeah, I haven't been following it that closely, honestly. Let's see here. On to a little bit about out of China. China is saying that they can see the B-2 stealth bomber with meter wave radar and KJ-2000 early warning planes. So maybe it's not so stealth to China. Allegedly, that's what China is claiming here now. And China's rolling out their military hardware. The Chinese Navy task group, led by aircraft carrier plans Shandong, arrived in Hong Kong this morning. Let's take a look at this Chinese aircraft carrier as they're bragging about their military hardware. Pretty fancy. Pretty fancy there, China. And of course, everybody there in Hong Kong loves Communist China, right? I mean, obviously. So Trump did have a 15-minute phone call today with the most evil man in the world, Vladimir Putin of Russia. And they discussed the West Asia situation. They discussed the obviously Ukraine-Russia war and other issues. And Putin wished Trump well and success with the one big beautiful bill. So wasn't that kind of him? And here's Trump comment on, I think it's kind of hard to hear, it's at the airport, but he said, yeah, no progress was made in peace there in the Russia war.
We had a call. It was a pretty long call. We talked about a lot of things, including Iran, and we also talked about, as you know, the war with Ukraine. And I'm not happy about that.
Mr. President,
No, I didn't make any progress.
No progress, sadly. And then we have former CIA director and ex-CENTCOM general David Petraeus say we're headed for a future where every stadium, prison, almost every place will need high-powered microwave and laser systems to shoot down drones. Wasn't that good? The militarization of everything. What do they call it? The mobilization of society, right? And so here's old David Petraeus selling it.
See that rapid speed of innovation be something that we need to learn to adapt to, whether in homeland security or in our military capabilities.
In the future, I think there's going to be a drone defense against every stadium, almost prisons. I think you'll see all of this, but it's not going to be the kind of traditional iron gun defense. It's going to be high-powered microwave and high-powered lasers. And both of those are competing with each other right now. The high-powered microwave will just knock everything down. The problem is the range isn't as much as you'd like to have it, especially over broad urban areas. Lasers, again, coming on very fast. Israel now actually has acknowledged that it has a laser system as part of now the overall air and ballistic missile defenses that, again, include Iron Dome, Arrow, and so forth.
So oh, they didn't put that in the one big beautiful bill. I want a laser system for my freaking front yard. for the roof of my house. What the hell? Oh, I don't get one? I don't get a laser? Bullshit. Okay. This woman, Tammy Bruce, Aardvark First State Department spokeswoman. I do agree with her here, though. Be ready. But there may be an attack at any time, and they're going to blame Iran on it, man. You know what I'm saying? It may be even real. Who knows? Who freaking knows? I have a hard time believing with all this surveillance with freaking microphones and cameras up everyone's rectum that they don't know full well what the hell's going on here in this country. I have a hard time believing that some alleged shadow terror cell can do any attack of any significance without the surveillance state knowing exactly what they're doing. But here is Tammy Bruce warning about a potential attack on July 4th by Iran, of course.
Threat. There are Iranians that have come across the border when it was wide open. That is a big concern, obviously.
Well, it is, and we talked about this at the time during the last administration.
Yes.
The number of people who are on the terrorist watch list that we knew had come over. The issue becomes who we didn't know who came over, right? From both the northern and the southern borders. This is obviously, now we've got a DOJ, we've got an attorney general, we've got a president who understands the importance of safety in this country, and that is now built up. We know just President Trump's presence has sealed that border, but it is about from city to city, town to town.
We've got an NSA and a government that has, since the beginning of mass communication, spied on everything. And so if an attack does happen, they knew about it and at the very least allowed it to happen, because why don't you go arrest the terror cells from Iran and wherever the hell else? Arrest them right now. You know what I'm saying? But this is the narrative that they're putting out there, so be aware. First THAAD battery, now fully operational in Saudi Arabia. Isn't that wonderful? Last month, the White House approved a $3.5 billion sale of advanced missiles and weapons to Saudi Arabia. Oh, the guys that attacked us on 9/11? Oh, it wasn't them? Oh, okay. Sorry. And now Syria, looking very imperial here now, has with their new Western intelligence run ISIS, their wonderful, good-looking leader, according to Trump here now, has rolled out a new government coat of arms. And so here's the old one that was under the Assad regime, the evil tyrant of Syria. And so here's the new one under the Western intelligence running the country now. Very familiar, isn't it? There. It said Syria's al-Sharara Western intelligence asset gives the country's coat of arms a minimalist rebrand. Eagle's 14 feathers represent Syria's 14 governates. It's like their states, I think. And 14 years of al-Sharara's war against Assad. Well, isn't that heartwarming indeed there, with his war eagle as the new Syrian coat of arms. Oh, by the way, we're in a war with Somalia. Nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. The United States has launched more than 45 airstrikes in Somalia so far this year under the Trump administration. And so we're literally in a war that in Somalia nobody knows or cares about. 45 airstrikes under the Trump administration. There you go. Okay, on to the hateful. Who made this? I think it was an aardvark that made it, wasn't it? Who the hell? Let me search this real quick. It just escapes my mind right now. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones, right? Who the hell made that movie? Of course, it was. It's set as of course, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones as a globe-trotting archaeologist, and was it Lucas or Spielberg? I don't know. I get these guys confused. Who the hell? Spielberg, right? Big Aardvark. Yeah, what the hell? He's a good guy. And it was based on. See, that's why I was confusing. The film Raiders of the Lost Ark was directed by Steven Spielberg, based on a story by George Lucas. That's what I was getting confused about. Anyhow, so of course, anti-Aardvark film here now. And if you notice, take a look at this short clip. Oh, look what, there's Aardvark land. Oh, wait, what? So confused. I'm so confused. But of course, that was a big anti-Aardvark hater guy that made that film, right? Yeah. Isn't that interesting to notice such things? And people are even posting videos about it. BBC staff exposed how the BBC ordered them to ordered them to do pro-genocide propaganda on behalf of Aardvark land. Well, as we've been reporting since the beginning, it's a UK intelligence operation sitting at the top of all this, the puppet masters of it. So, of course, the BBC, their television, radio, broadcasting propaganda arm, would be pro their own operation. It's turning out to be a scandal. A devastating letter signed by over 100 BBC journalists underlines one of the great scandals of our age. Nothing will happen because, as we mentioned, it's a Western intelligence operation. So thankfully, we were able to shoot down those evil Iranian missiles launched at Aardvark land. Report estimates U.S. used $1.25 billion worth of THAAD interceptors for defense of Aardvark land from Iranian missiles. Somehow that's my tax money. Somehow that's my tax money. Amnesty International says Aardvark land and aid system used starvation to commit Gaza genocide. Who knew that Hamas recruited Amnesty International, but turns out they did. Here's a report out of the LA Times. And so, of course, Amnesty International, aka Hamas terrorists, are calling out the siege, their starvation method, as a genocide. IDF announces 1 million weekly food packages for Palestinians in Gaza. Come get your food, and we shoot you. See how that works? There it is. The humanitarians that are at the IDF, making sure everybody's fed. AP has obtained video showing American contractors in Gaza cheering after shooting at Palestinians near an aid distribution point. One yells, "I think you hit one." Another responds, "Hell yeah, boy." Some good old boys over there shooting at people looking for food. That's the American way. You can also hear a contractor mention coordinating with an IDF tank for a show of force. The whistleblower who shared the clip says the contractors opened fire on civilians who had just picked up food and were leaving the area. Well, shouldn't even have been there in the first place. Should we play this? Let's play the, and again, excuse me out there, but I believe the AP report is accurate, but it doesn't seem to be synced to the reporter's lips. But the uploaders of this video didn't seem to sync it. Anyway, it's from Hotspot on the X, and it's the AP. Let's watch this report about it. About the, what is it called again? It's called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, with such a wonderful name. Come get some food aid and get shot. I think their channel's like flagged or something, because these guys, I've been having a hard time playing videos from them over here on the X. Let's see if we can reload it and play this video via AP. And then I tried to find it direct source from AP, and you had to jump through a bunch of hoops. Here it is.
Testimonies and videos obtained by the Associated Press show American contractors guarding aid distribution sites inside Gaza are using live ammunition and stun grenades as hungry Palestinians scramble for food. 2 U.S. contractors who spoke to us on the condition of anonymity because they were revealing their employer's internal operations said they were coming out because they were disturbed by what they saw as dangerous and irresponsible practices. Both have extensive military experience. They say the security staff on site were often unqualified, unvetted, and had an open license to do whatever they wished. Their testimonies, combined with videos, text messages, and internal reports seen by the AP, provide a rare glimpse into the workings of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the new American organization backed by Israel to provide food to the Gaza Strip's population. Journalists have been unable to access the sites, which are located in Israeli military-controlled zones. Since the GHF sites began operating about a month ago, Palestinians say Israeli troops fired nearly every day toward crowds on roads heading to the distribution points through Israeli military zones. Several hundred people have been killed and hundreds more wounded, according to Gaza's health ministry and witnesses. The military has repeatedly said it's fired only warning shots, denies deliberately firing toward civilians, and says it's looking into reports of civilian harm. AP's reporting reveals what's actually happening on the sites themselves. The 2 contractors say their colleagues regularly used bullets, stun grenades, and pepper spray on the sites. Videos that one contractor took during the first 2 weeks of distributions appear to back up the frenetic scenes they described. In some videos he filmed, men in gray uniforms, which he identified as his colleagues, can be seen dispensing tear gas and throwing stun grenades that land amid the crowd. The sound of gunfire can be heard. They can later be seen trying to clear Palestinians squeezed into a narrow, fenced-in passage leading to one of the centers. One photo shared by the contractor shows a woman lying in a donkey cart after he says she was hit in the head with part of a stun grenade. Another photo shows a Palestinian crying after the contractor says he was tear-gassed in the face. To confirm the footage is from the sites, the AP geolocated the videos using aerial imagery. The AP also had the videos analyzed by 2 audio forensic experts who say they could identify live ammunition, including machine gunfire, coming from the sites, in most cases within 50 to 60 meters of the camera's microphone. In another video, what appear to be heavily armed American security contractors at one of the sites discuss how to disperse Palestinians nearby.
I got IDF tank posted on the northwest corner now. I brought him in and talked to him. Let's do the show first. I told him to hold there. I don't want this to be too aggressive.
At that moment, bursts of gunfire erupt close by, at least 15 shots. The camera's view is obscured by a large dirt mound. The contractor who took the video told AP that he saw other contractors shooting in the direction of Palestinians who had just collected their food and were departing. He had a clear line of sight to both shooters. He says they shot toward the exit to the site, where he could see Palestinians leaving the center some 80 meters away. He says the men shot from atop a tower above the site and from atop the mound. The shooting began because contractors wanted to disperse the crowd, he says, but it was unclear why they continued to shoot as people were walking away. The camera does not show who was shooting or what was being shot at, but the contractor who filmed the video says he watched another contractor fire at the Palestinians and then saw a man about 55 meters away in the same direction that the bullets were fired drop to the ground. The AP cannot independently verify this account. Both contractors say they were armed with pistols, automatic rifles, and some had machine guns. Audio analysis of another video, taken at night, indicated that machine gun fire came from within 115 meters of the camera. The Israeli military says it's not deployed at these aid sites. In response to our reporting, SRS, the company that handles the operation's logistics, acknowledged that it's dealing with large, hungry populations, but said the environment is secure, controlled, and ensures people can get the aid they need safely. SRS says to date there have been no serious injuries on the sites. It says that security professionals had fired live rounds into the ground away from civilians a few times in the early days of the operation as crowd control measures. The GHF says its team is composed of experienced professionals and warned that there were people with a vested interest in seeing GHF fail. UG Solutions, the security company that hired the contractors, said it has an extensive recruiting and training process, including a detailed application process, screening by experts, reference checks, background checks, and weapons proficiency. But
see that the old Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, they're the good guys, you see, as they shoot people trying to get food aid. What about the West Bank? Newsweek reports between Gaza and Iran, Aardvark's hidden war in the West Bank is flaring up again. This is where you got these maniacs, these radical Zionists, what are they, ultra-Zionist quote, saddlers, just literal maniacs that go around and steal their property and will kill you and burn your house down. And so, yeah, they are seizing that land, annexing it. And so that is going on as well. And the settlers even attacked the freaking IDF. They're crazy, man. Aardvark settlers have torched Palestinian villages and even clashed with the IDF in the West Bank. They're freaking crazy, man. And they're backed up by Ben Gvir and the rest of these maniacs. And it's just a mob of, it's like road warrior kind of stuff over there. And many from America, many aardvarks from America that are complete psychopaths go over there and kill people and steal their land with the blessing of aardvark government and even attack the aardvark army. They're freaking crazy. But we shall not speak ill of them, now shall we? The U.S. is backing Aardvark Land's push to annex the occupied West Bank. They're going to take all the land, as we continue to report here, as part of the greater Aardvark Land project. There will be no two-state solution because they don't have any land to even have a second state there. Here is Bruce again. Makes me want to throw up, but let's hear this exchange between her and a reporter at the State Department press conference.
Justice Minister Yair Levy today said that the time has come to annex the occupied West Bank. Do you have any reaction to this, and what is this administration position on a potential Israeli annexation of the West Bank?
Well, I think that is specifically something that the White House would be able to answer for you, but I also know that our position regarding Israel, the choices it's make, is that we stand with Israel and its decisions and how it views its own internal security.
Is the two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict still an official policy of the U.S. government?
What I can say there is that President Trump is realistic about the current state of affairs. Clearly, Gaza is an uninhabitable place. It needs to be rebuilt with the help of Arab partners. I think he has said previously that the nature of what has happened and what we have to get to, we don't have a ceasefire yet. Hopefully that will change. But that is getting quite ahead of the dynamic in general. So that is what the...
It's uninhabitable. It's a mystery why, because they carpet bombed the entire place there. And so there will be no two-state solution because you Palestinians have no land now. As they chip away at it. Oh, by the way, there's Christians in there. Who cares? Christian Zionists sure in the hell don't care. The last fully Christian town in the West Bank is facing mounting settler violence and land grabs. There are Christians there. Do Christian Zionists in America care? No, they don't. Because they're good Christian Zionists in America. See how that works? And so, yeah, there's one last little holdout settlement there of Christians in the Holy Land. And the aardvark settlers are going to go ahead and take it from them. And the Christian Zionists in America cheer it on. So isn't that wonderful? More footage. I'm not even show. Oh, settler attacks. Settler attacks. Yeah. Let's play some footage of settler attacks here in the West Bank. You can see these are maniacs. Aardvark settlers attack people and property to terrorize Palestinians out of the area, i.e. the purge. I saw this story. I think it broke like over last weekend anyway. This is a crazy story where this Zionist extremist, Adam Sheaf, he brutally crucified an Arizona pastor and confessed he planned to crucify 14 more Christian leaders across the U.S. Arrested moments before killing 2 more priests. Let's watch this short report about this maniac.
51-year-old extremist Adam Christopher Schaaf crucified a Christian pastor in the state of Arizona as part of a sickening ritualistic scheme, which he claims is meant to, quote, rid Israel of evil. 76-year-old William Shoneman was found covered in blood in his own bed with his hands nailed to the wall and a crown of thorns on his head. In an interview with True Crime Arizona, Shaif, who has a tattoo on his neck in Hebrew that says Jehovah or God, confessed and attempted to justify the murder by stating his plan to kill 13 Christian leaders in 10 states across the U.S. through crucifying them for, quote, preaching to people that Jesus is God.
There's 13 tribes of Israel. So what I wanted to do was execute and crucify 13 priests and put one of the tribes of Israel in each of their right ears, which I did with this priest. I put the tribe of Benjamin.
The 13 tribes of Israel, or the Israelites, refer to the sons of Jacob who took over what they call the land of Israel, or now occupied Palestine. An Arizona news outlet revealed that Shaif is obsessed with the Old Testament, or the Torah, which explains life before Jesus Christ and the creation of the people of ancient Israel, as opposed to the New Testament, which narrates the world after the birth of Jesus Christ. Although raised Christian, Shaif explains what led him to this tendency.
A light shot through the ceiling of my cell and into me, and ever since then I see the Star of David.
As Zionist ideologies continue to spread and condemnations remain non-existent, the killer claims no guilt or shame and instead still aims to carry out his mission.
Not only do I have zero remorse, I plan on fulfilling what I started. If my Father puts me in an authoritative position on this earth, I will execute every single priest and burn every church to the ground.
Shaif remains in prison on unrelated charges as an indictment for this brutal crime is expected soon. All the while, the only condemnations flow towards movements calling for the freedom of Palestine from the Israeli occupation. Rachel Hamdoun, Press TV, New York.
Yeah, well, he seemed like a reasonable guy. Yeah, it was an old story about that maniac. Story conveniently came out for the hard push for no hide laws. Karen said, yeah, well, he was doing God's work, apparently, according to him. Yeah, aardvarks are bombing Lebanon today. So they're bombing the hell out of Lebanon. I thought they had a ceasefire. Oh. Aardvark forces kill 118 Palestinians in Gaza over the last 24 hours. More than 300 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza over the past 3 days. I thought there was a ceasefire. Huh. Funny how that works. And then thankfully here at home, back here at home in America, under Trump pressure, UC says student governments are banned from boycotting aardvark land. And so I guess you're not allowed to organize a boycott against aardvark land there at University of California universities, as the universities fear federal funding cuts. And so they've caved here. UC President Michael Drake told campus leaders that boycotts of companies based on their association with a particular country were a violation of university policies. So a steadfast humanitarian there, standing up against the genocide. University of California student governments banned from boycotting aardvarks amid Trump's funding threats. Don't worry, Trump, the world savior, is 100% on board with no hide laws. Awesome. Awesome. And with that, but one aardvark was harmed, so we have to murder all the Palestinians. Sounds about right. I think it was what they were giving us ratios there for a while. It was like 100 to 1 or something. Remember the ridiculous ratios? Now it's like, I don't even know what we got to look up what the new ratio is. One aardvark for 100 Palestinians. I don't know what it is now, but it's quite horrific indeed there. Somehow that's my tax money. Somehow that's my tax money. All right, friends. That's all we have on this episode of Weaponized News. Let me go to the channels quickly before we sign off. See who, if anyone, is tuning in on the old Bitchute. There's a few people in there on the Bitchute. Let's see. We got Highland, we got Huffman, Wire. Why pay taxes? They just print what they want. Exactly, Wire. And they don't even, there's no audits, or they can't pass an audit at the Pentagon, as one example of many government agencies that are just a ridiculous joke. Pay your taxes. John over there. Shout out to John. Says that he just saw an interview, economist Martin Armstrong, where he stated that the money changers in the city of London want a world war and will have it. Yeah, well, they definitely can finance it, right? So, yeah. Nice little chat they have going on there on the Odysee. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee, keeping that chat going there again. Yeah, there was no aardvark land until after World War II. Yeah. So I guess, well, that map was in the Raiders of the Lost Ark was historically accurate now, wasn't it? But they tell us there never was even a Palestine. It never even existed. So thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee. The UN is an aardvark god. Or at the UN, yeah. They are all, they all are Satanists worshiping some dark occultic god or mindset, actually. I think it's more of a mindset than an entity, honestly. But they do all have the satanic mindset. That is no doubt about that. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee, keeping that chat lively. Over to the Bitchute. What is on the Bitchute, if anybody? Let's take a look. A few people on the Bitchute. Shout out to you guys tuning in live on the Bitchute. Thank you for tuning in to Weaponized News. Appreciate it. The X, thank you guys for listening in on the X. The Rumble, of course, lively chat there, as always. Thank you guys. Carrie, Karen, Snarky Guy, and a few others are in there. Ruckus, thank you guys for tuning in and keeping the chat lively on the Rumble. Appreciate it. And then what else do we got? Shout out to Facebook, Twitch, and the old Kick. Thank you everybody for tuning in on those channels. And I think that's about all we got for today. I'm going to go take a listen to Ruckus on the Boiler Room. As always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Thursday evening. And we'll be back here tomorrow on Friday for a special 4th of July edition of Weaponized News. And yeah, everybody be vigilant out there in public 4th of July parades and celebrations, because God only knows what they have planned for us here now. We'll see you back here tomorrow for Friday edition.